Let's go Falcons! There's been some news recently that has been making waves on the internet, so let's see what could happen with the Falcons from here on out. But first, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss the latest updates, insider information, and everything about the Atlanta Falcons. Now, let's get right to it. Here's the big story that's making waves in the NFL. Myles Garrett has officially requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, and the Atlanta Falcons are already being mentioned as a possible landing spot. Yep. Imagine Myles Garrett wearing black and red. That's the kind of move that could change the game and take this team to the next level. Let's face it, Falcons fans, our pass rush has been a problem for what feels like forever. Last season, we ranked 31st in total sacks with just 31, near the bottom of the entire league. And this isn't just a one-year issue. We haven't finished higher than 20th in sacks since 2017, which, coincidentally, was the last time we had a winning record and made the playoffs. That's why the idea of bringing in Myles Garrett is so exciting. This guy is a wrecking ball on the defensive line. Since his rookie year in 2017, he's recorded at least 12 sacks every season. Oh, and let's not forget, he was named the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Simply put, he's a game changer, the kind of player who can single-handedly disrupt an opposing offense. Now, according to ESPN insider Dan Graziano, the Falcons are one of 4 top teams that make sense as a trade destination for Garrett, along with the Eagles, Lions, and Commanders. So why is Atlanta such a good fit? Well, it starts with our financial situation. We have Michael Penix Jr. on a rookie contract, which gives us the flexibility to spend big elsewhere on the roster. Adding a superstar like Garrett could accelerate our path to being a legitimate playoff contender. Of course, there are hurdles. The first challenge is convincing the Browns to let go of their star defender. Cleveland's front office has already said they're not interested in trade offers, but Garrett's public request changes things. If a player of his caliber wants out, teams are going to start making calls. Then there's the question of what it would take to get him. 2 first-round picks would likely be the starting point. And that's where things get interesting. Part of the reason the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. at number 8 last year was because they didn't plan on picking in the top 10 again anytime soon. This year, we've got the number 15 pick, and our offense looks capable of being a top 10 unit in 2025. So would you trade the number 15 pick this year and a late first-rounder in 2026 for Myles Garrett? Keep in mind, Garrett is under contract through 2026, but the Falcons would likely look to extend him and lower his cap hits, which currently sit at $19.8 million in 2025 and $25 million in 2026. He's only 29 years old and should remain productive for at least 4 more seasons. If the Falcons pull this off, 10-7 should be the absolute floor for this team. Think about it, adding Garrett to our defense would be a complete game changer. The Rams finished 10-7 and are picking number 26 in this year's draft. That could easily be us if we make the right moves. But it's not just about draft picks. The Falcons would also need to create cap space by making some tough decisions on veteran contracts. We're currently $11 million over the projected salary cap limit, so moves would need to be made regardless. If you're going to clear cap space, why not do it for a player like Myles Garrett? Another potential hurdle is whether Garrett would even want to come to Atlanta. In his trade request, he made it clear that he wants to compete for a Super Bowl. Are the Falcons at that level yet? That's debatable. We haven't made the playoffs since 2017, and while the team seems to be on an upward trajectory, we still have to prove it on the field. However, with Garrett on board, that trajectory could become a reality much faster. He's the kind of player who makes everyone around him better. Opposing offenses would have to game plan specifically for him, freeing up other defenders to make plays. And let's not forget the impact he could have on our young defensive players. Having a veteran leader like Garrett in the locker room would be invaluable. So what do you think, Falcons fans? Is Myles Garrett worth 2 first-round picks and some tough cap decisions? Should the Falcons go all in to bring him to Atlanta? Or do you think we should stick to building through the draft and free agency? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. There's a lot of chatter going around right now about head coach Raheem Morris and some controversial news surrounding quarterback Kirk Cousins. Just when we thought the drama from last season had settled, Cousins dropped a bombshell during Super Bowl week. He revealed that he had been dealing with an injury during the tail end of the 2024 season. You can imagine the shockwaves this sent through the Falcons fan base. I mean, why are we just hearing about this now? This revelation has raised a lot of questions, not just about Cousins, but also about the coaching staff and the medical team. What role did they play in this situation? Did they know about the injury and decide to keep quiet, or were they in the dark? Either way, it's not a good look for anyone involved. And let's be real, it doesn't change the fact that Raheem Morris stuck with Cousins despite his visible struggles on the field. A lot of fans were already frustrated with Morris for waiting until the season was essentially over before making a quarterback change. If Cousins was injured, that decision looks even worse in hindsight. The team had opportunities to give themselves a better chance to win, and those opportunities were wasted. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Some people are speculating that Cousins might be exaggerating the extent of his injury to force a release or generate trade interest. I'm not saying that's definitely the case, but the timing is certainly suspicious. If the injury was so significant, why not disclose it when it actually mattered? Why wait until now? This whole situation puts the Falcons in a tough spot. On one hand, Cousins' honesty, or lack thereof, has made things messy. On the other hand, it's clear that the Falcons need to make some big decisions moving forward. But here's the kicker, cutting Cousins doesn't make financial sense. Keeping him on the roster as a backup is actually cheaper than releasing him. That's right, there's a $25 million difference between keeping him on the bench and cutting him loose. So, what does this mean for the Falcons' offseason strategy? For starters, they shouldn't feel pressured to find a starting opportunity for Cousins elsewhere. The organization owes him nothing at this point. If a trade offer comes along that makes sense, great. If not, there's no harm in keeping him as a backup. He's a cheaper option on the bench than as a dead cap hit. Let's also talk about the impact this has on Raheem Morris. The timing of Cousins' injury revelation makes the coaching staff look questionable at best. But regardless of whether they knew about the injury, Morris' decision to stick with Cousins for as long as he did was a mistake. Fans deserve better decision-making from the coaching staff, and this situation only highlights the need for accountability. And what about Cousins himself? His decision to keep quiet about the injury until now comes off as selfish. It's hard not to view this as a move made with his own interests in mind rather than the team's. If he had been upfront about his condition earlier, it might have changed the course of the season. At the very least, it would have given the team and the fans a better understanding of what was going wrong. As frustrating as this situation is, it does provide some clarity for the Falcons. The organization can now approach the offseason with a clear understanding of where Cousins stands, and they shouldn't feel obligated to do him any favors. This is a business, and the Falcons need to make decisions that are best for the team. So, Falcons fans, what do you think about all this? Should the team keep Cousins as a backup, or should they look for a trade partner? And how do you feel about Raheem Morris' handling of the situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive Falcons content. Your support helps us bring you the latest news and insights. Go Falcons!